want it, getting ourselves in a place where our mentalities have the ability to help us to grow, understanding that what we utilize on a daily basis we get to keep. So what are the challenges that you're facing off against? What are the things that you're looking to go through? What are the things that you're looking to become? Like I do every day, getting down with these challenges, putting ourselves in a place where our mentality has the ability to utilize this as an exercise, utilize energy as the ability to focus, as the ability to put ourselves in a place where we have the ability to make it through these types of challenges. And so what types of challenges are you going through today? Connect with the network, Motivation, Meditation, Inspiration. Yoga, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Also have Twitch out there. A couple people on Twitch hitting me up too. So where are you? What types of challenges are you guys facing off against? Leave comments on the different platforms that we have. Let's get it connected. And get these challenges faced off against. So when focusing on what you're looking to become, focusing on the ability to mold yourself, do you use the skills that you learned in school? Do you use the skills that you've been working with on a daily, on a weekly? What are some of the things that you are utilizing? What are some of the things that are you focused into? What are some of the things that, you know, when you face off against challenges, you utilize on a daily basis? You know, we know that if you write things down, you have ability to overcome them. If you put them in front of yourself, then you can actually see them. There's a lot of people out there building vision boards. They're putting visions in front of themselves. They're putting goals in front of themselves that they want to achieve, the things that they want to become, the mentality that they want to have. And so what are the challenges that you're facing off against? How can you use those types of skills? Can you build those kind of projects in your life that start bringing positivity towards you? How can you start putting yourself in a place where your mentality starts to be utilized, where what you have going on inside, where you look past the challenges, where you look from within yourself to see the results, where when we're looking for the ability to overcome our challenges, are we looking at that depth? Are we actually getting down with the challenges to start to see what's positive in our lives? And that's the type of questions we should be asking ourselves. We should be asking ourselves, what is it that you want to become? What is it that you want to face off against? How is it that you want to grow? Where do you want to grow? What type of growth do you want to have? And so, are we asking ourselves these types of questions? Are we putting our mentality in a place where we're bringing positivity in our direction? Are we putting ourselves in a place where what we're focusing into, we are getting to keep the results, we're getting to keep the challenges that we're facing off against? Or are the challenges becoming greater than you? Are they within you? Are you able to continue to manifest, to continue to put your mentality in a place where what you're focused into you start to keep? And so if your results are coming back that they're not positive, if they're coming back that, you know, you're searching for something outside of who you are, if you're searching for things that are outside of you, don't be surprised when those things get the results and you don't. When you're not willing to go within yourself, you're not willing to spend the time to sit down with you, to study yourself, and things aren't working in your favor because you didn't put the time in, you didn't put the effort in, you didn't put the mentality in. You're trying to help somebody else grow, but what about yourself? What about what you have going on inside of you? What about the person that you want to become? What about the dreams that you want to have? And you see, it's inside of that I'm talking about. I'm talking about self-mentality, self-ability, self-focus, self-growth. So who out there wants to grow? You know, like, leave a comment there if you're looking to get connected with a network, if you're looking to start to get mentored, if you're looking to start to put your mentality in a place where you're utilizing it. You know, I do see that somebody on Facebook just actually sent me a message. You can definitely send me a message inside, start helping you to get your mentality in place. I'm looking at how we're starting to take our challenges and to go inwards with them, not to allow them to destroy us, but to actually build us up, right? And so, if we look at the mere fact with challenges, that when we're facing off against challenges, it's not about somebody else, it's about you versus you. It's about how you put your mentality in a place where you're seeking positivity, where you're putting yourself in a place where your ability inside starts to allow you to sit down and use the same type of skills that you did in school, like studying. One of those ways in which people study is by writing the things down that they want to achieve, by writing the things down that they want to overcome. And when do we sit down at that level? When do we put ourselves at that place inside of who we are where we have the ability to use that kind of technology to where we upgrade our skills, we upgrade our minds, we upgrade our challenges to the point where we have the ability to overcome them? And like Newton stated, for each action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So are you utilizing your challenges? Are you truly utilizing the things that you're going through? Are you in a place where what you're focused into becomes the results, right? And what type of results are you looking to have? It's inside of ourselves that we seek that kind of place inside. And I don't allow people that have negative mentalities into my space. I don't allow them into my mentality, and I don't allow them to be around me, because what's going on inside is important. What's going on inside is that you can overcome things when your mentality starts to work in your favor, when you start to go beyond your challenges, when you start to put yourself inside of who you are. See, a lot of people forget about that part of themselves, that your mind is controlled by what you focus into, what you put your foundation into, how you focus to the point where you start to see the results, where the actual vibration starts to come out, where negativity starts to have the ability to move out of your way. Like a lot of people are holding themselves back because they want to compare themselves to somebody else, when it's not about somebody else. The challenges that you go through are your own. And so, how do you start to see positivity in that? How do you start putting yourself in a place where you seek out positivity, where what you're going through, you have the ability to overcome? And you see, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the you versus you, the challenges that you're going through, the things that you're looking to achieve, the that person that you want to become, those dreams that you want to fulfill. And so, are you allowing the people that are bringing you closer to your positive journey? Are you allowing them to be a part of your life? Are you allowing them to become a part of your path? Or are you allowing yourself to be stopped by your mind? Are you enabling your ability to have an able mentality? That's the types of questions that we got to ask ourselves. That's the type of questions that they don't teach in school. They just teach you how to work with subjects like reading, like math, like science. But do they work on the things that are truly going on inside you? Do they work with the forces in the universe, like positive and negative forces? Like for each action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And the reason is no, it's because they want you to become a part of the mainstream. They want you to be, in other words, sheeples. But you're not a sheeple. You're an individual. You're a human being. You're meant to have a purpose. You're meant to have a path. You started a journey. You started with a simplicity of breath before you even started to learn how to read, learned how to speak. You were deciding that things were positive and negative, that this thing was a place of positivity in your life, that you felt mentality wise, that your ability to be yourself was that, and the people that were embedding that information into you, they were embedding positivity into you, guys. Do you see what I'm saying? Simplicity has reversed. It's taken from what is really there, what is actually really beautiful, what is actually really helping you to grow inside and helping you to be who you are. And we got to find our way back there. We got to find our way towards positivity. We got to find our way towards a foundation and focusing on our dreams, focusing on our goals. You know, when you're a kid, you sit down and you start to imagine that you're going to become an astronaut, right? So you imagine that you want to be able to be on the moon. And who gets to actually land on the moon focuses to the point where it becomes possible. And so, are you landing on those dreams that you want to have? Are you landing on the abilities inside of yourself where you truly want to go? You see, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about how mentality frees you, how it literally opens you up to be who you are on the inside, opens you up to have that kind of ability to believe in yourself, to believe in the dreams that you have inside. And what type of skills did you learn in school? Did you learn to write stuff down? Did you learn to study what you write down? Did you learn to take notes? Are you taking notes? Are you using those kinds of mentality that puts you in a place where what you're going to go through, you have the ability to overcome? See, that's the type of questions we got to ask ourselves. We got to ask ourselves, what does it take to reach that level? And that's not somebody else can do for you. That's not something that somebody else was meant to do. And if they are doing that for you, then you're not allowed to grow yourself. So how do you start to grow? How do you start to take charge of your life? How do you start to get into the ability to be who you are, to allow yourself to utilize your mentality to the point where you focus past your challenges? How do you put yourself in a place where you have permission to be who you are on the inside? How? How do you get there? And this is how you start to get there. You start to put positivity first. You put it in a place where when you wake up, you're searching for positivity. When you go into bed, you're searching for a reason to go to bed. Like one of those that a great admiral talked about was making your bed. You know, putting your bed in an order in which what you're utilizing, you're having the ability to use. And a lot of us neglect those little things. We neglect them one by one. We neglect them when we're searching for the ability to be who we are, when we're searching for the challenges to work through, when we're putting ourselves in a place where our mentality starts to work. And so, are we giving ourselves that kind of a place to where we ask those types of questions? Hearing what I'm saying? What is it that you're focused into? What is it that you are focused into? What is it that you focus on? See, if you are focused into the right place, then the things that are not meant for you have the ability to move out of the way. And this isn't about a right or wrong. This is about a positive and negative forces in the universe. This is about seeing past those types of challenges. This is about putting yourself in a place where you give yourself the permission to grow, where you give yourself the permission to be who you are on the inside, where you start to see that you could face off against your own challenges, that they're worth it, that you're worth it. See, that is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about the person inside of you who talks to you, who says to you, hey, let's do this. Let's become this. Let's dream this. Let's achieve this. Do you put it down in front of yourself, or do you stop yourself before you even get started? Is that what you want to dream? Is that what you want to become? Is that the type of energy that you want flowing through your system? What type of energy do you want to have? What type of places do you want to go? Like, it's the person who seeks their dreams and continues to push that eventually achieves their dreams. But why do they achieve their dreams? Because they focused to the point where what they wanted to achieve became the results, my friend. Became the results, became the manifestation, became the reflection, became that place where they were willing to continue when other people would give up, when other people would just throw in the towel, when they would say it's not possible, that they cannot do these types of things. It's not when you're waiting for other people to become it. It's not when you're waiting for other people to achieve it. It's when you're focusing to that level where the dream starts to become possible. It's when you allow the things that are not meant for you out of your life. And that is not always easy, my friends, to let those things go that aren't meant for you, because sometimes you fight for the things that you feel like are meant for you, and sometimes they're not meant for you. They're meant to be a part of your path, a part of your journey. Sometimes they have a place where they pass through. They pass through your journey. They pass through your mentality. They pass through the process of being a part of your life, through your level of manifestation, through your being, through the energy that flows inside of you. And you see, that is what we're talking about. We're talking about when you utilize that level inside of you, when you believe in you, when you see that you are beautiful for yourself, when you believe that all you can be is yourself, that you could be the best reflection of your positivity. You hearing what I'm saying? Are we thinking at that level where what you want to achieve you can? Are we thinking at the level where Will Smith talked about, once I think it into existence, I'm just waiting for it to happen? You see, that kind of focus to that level where we have that ability, where we put our minds into that place where focus becomes a foundation, okay, where it becomes a part of who we are, where we're going to make it through these kinds of challenges because we focus to the point where we have the ability to utilize it, where we have the ability to manifest within our being what we want to achieve. It's simple. It's like the car thought, right? So you think about a car, you want a vessel, you want to be able to drive this car. And at some point you achieve the ability to get that because you thought to the point where you focused, yeah? Where you focused, and then you see other people have focused to that level. Other people have achieved their dreams because they focus past their challenges, if they focus past the things that had the ability to stop them, if they focus to the point where what's going on inside doesn't have the ability to hold you back, doesn't have the ability to stop you on your journey, doesn't have the ability to stop your mentality. And that's why I start this day with this. I start this day with this kind of focus, start this day with this kind of path. You know, those people who want to join this kind of a path, want to join this kind of a movement, motivation, meditation, inspiration is for you. The comments that you leave there, I do respond to. The mentality, the ability, the challenges that you're facing off against, have you started to try to embrace them? Have you started to put yourself in a place where you work at them one at a time, where you're journaling things down, where what you're working towards is the ability to constantly be in progress, to constantly understand one's challenges, to understand one's being, to understand one's purpose? So are you using that part of who you are? Are you using that kind of mentality? Are you putting yourself in a place where you're not putting it on somebody else, where you're focused to the point where you see the universe as your friend, as Einstein stated, where mass and energy start to be utilized as you, start to be utilized as your path. You start to use that human being that you are, that presence that you are, that purpose that you have, that path that you are going through, that path that you are on, that journey that you became a part of since the day that you started your life. See, it's simple. You breathe. It's simple. You think. It's simple. You can focus. It's simple. You can achieve your dreams. And it's simple because when you face your challenges truly inside of you, when you put yourself in a place where what you're focusing into you start to achieve, then what's going to come out of you is going to be your results. And if you're truly focused, if you're truly putting yourself in a place where your mentality starts to open up, where your ability starts to open up, where your challenges start to open up, then you're going to want them. You're going to want the challenges. You're going to wake up daily so you could face off against them, but you're also going to face off against them prepared. You're going to face off against them in such a way that you can see the positivity coming out of them, that you're searching always for the positive result. You're searching for the positive angle. And when people start to see that coming out of you, they start to use you as a tool in the universe. They start to use the tools, the gifts, the challenges that you face off against. They start to use the mentality that you have. They start to use the ability that you have inside of yourself that Newton knew. Newton knew that for each action there was an equal and opposite reaction. So are you allowing that opposite reaction out of your life? Are you allowing the positivity to fill that void? Are you allowing the positivity to become a part of the way you face off against your challenges? That you could see the positivity in the ability. And are you sitting down and are you studying? Are you truly sitting down and using the gifts that you have, using the challenges that you have, using the ability that you have inside of yourself to become that kind of a student in your life? See, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about the ability to get beyond your challenges, to hit that place that is inside of you, that your mentality truly has a place to grow. And you can see that kind of vibration, and people could see that kind of a strength. They could see that kind of a path. They could see that kind of a purpose within you when you're focused to that point. Things like Michael Phelps, an example. Michael Phelps was known to swim 2 to 3 times the amount of workouts that other people were that were Olympic athletes. Why did he focus to the point? Because he knew the results. He was not surprised when he was receiving multiple medals when other people weren't even putting in the time. They weren't putting in the effort to work to the point where he was able to focus to. What about Eric Thomas, who got to the point where as soon as the guru story, right? Eric Thomas story, okay? Yeah, I'm talking about Eric Thomas right now. As soon as you want it as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. Who wants it that bad? Do you focus to the point where the results will happen because you're focused to that level, where you're focused to the place where you become successful? And I asked myself that same question as I was sitting inside the sauna. And I heard people say it's not possible for you to pass an hour. I said, I'm going to pass an hour or I'm going to die. Okay? Doesn't that sound like a different mentality? Are all these people's connections Will Smith? Talking about a treadmill, either you're going to get off the treadmill or I'm going to die. That is the mentality that I am talking about. This is the mentality that the people across the face of the planet have. This is the reason why they achieve that level of success, because they focus to that place. Let's go ahead and take another view, my friends. I'm going to go ahead and show you how this mentality has been here. This ability has been there. Your ability to be yourself. That what Steve Jobs stated, that the people that created these things aren't any smarter than you. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was asked a question, what about when you're on top of your game? Who is your greatest competition? And that is you, my friends. That is your level of focus to continue to move forward, to allow the mentality of the ability inside of ourselves between the multiple motivational speakers, the ability to believe that you can pass the point, that you could shoot past the mark, that you can make it through the challenges, that they are not there to stop you, but they're there to make you be who you are, to allow you to grow inside of yourself, to put yourself in a place where you go through the target and you don't just hit the target. In life, you want more than just. You want to become you. You want to manifest your dreams. You want to manifest your being. You want to focus to the point where you use your challenges to your advantage. See, that is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you believing in you. I'm talking about you becoming you. I'm talking about you utilizing who you are on the inside. I'm talking about you utilizing your challenges, utilizing your being, utilizing your level of focus, utilizing your manifestation, utilizing the challenges that you face off against daily, who you are inside, what you want to become, who you want to manifest. Do you want to focus to the point where you want to see your dreams? Do you want to focus to the point where the ability inside isn't facing off against somewhere else and it's not putting it on somebody else, it's going within you, where no matter the handicaps you face off against, you turn those handicaps into successes. You turn those handicaps into things that bring you closer to your dreams, to your goals, your ability for you to be you. And so are we focusing to that point where we're utilizing that level? Are we focusing to that point where we're utilizing that part of who we are? Are we going to the point where nobody else can? Because when you do, when you put yourself in that level, then other people seek you. They seek you as a level of motivation, my friends. And that's the first question we got to ask ourselves. Is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is what I'm doing today bringing me closer to what I want to focus on? Is it bringing me closer to who I want to become? Is it bringing me closer to the challenges that I want to face off against? And see, a lot of people stop themselves before they even get to the point where I want to, because they don't put the time in, because they don't put the mentality in, because they don't put the effort in to putting themselves in a place where they sit down and study themselves, where they write down, where they put vision boards, where they listen to motivation, where they put themselves in a place where they give themselves that kind of time to invest that kind of energy into themselves. You see, if you do that, if you do put the ability in, okay, all right, so this is a really good thing. So this person on Periscope just wrote a answer. Very good. Okay. So, all right. If you want to come live, I can definitely bring you on. We can start working on that together. It's definitely doable. The person on Periscope just said, I want to stop smoking. So, let's go ahead and start visiting it. Let's start visiting this kind of a challenge, right? So, all right, so positive vibes. Okay, so the real thing is you really want to stop smoking, right? So what is inhibiting your ability to smoke is that it's connected to your place of study. It's connected to the things that you do in your day and in your week. Like, for instance, another person that I helped stop smoking, they were working in a kitchen and they were a chef in the kitchen, and you know and the kitchen happens to be inside of a bar, right? So if we allow ourselves to be in the places where that is inhibiting it, it's giving us the ability to do so, then the ability to stop smoking becomes that much more difficult. So if you truly want to stop smoking, then you got to decide what's positive, right? So as long as the connection between smoking and being good is there, which good does not truly exist, but our mentality trains it to, then the ability for you to stop smoking is still going to be there. However, if you put yourself in a place where you're starting to write it down every single day and you're starting to visit it on a daily basis, then the challenge, such as like things like smoking, you start to overcome. And it starts with the simplicity of what you put down on paper. So in the case with this is, are you waking up every single day writing down to yourself that smoking is not positive in my life, where you're going to your positions and your day and you're going through your day and you're allowing yourself to not stop, for instance, the person that I helped stop smoking at the Maverick or the gas station, or creating new rituals for yourself to start working through them, to actually start putting yourself in a place where you start to become patient with yourself, to where the challenge that you're facing off against is not greater than your mentality.
So what you're saying is that I should kind of plot out my day in the morning and think about the places where I'm going to smoke and kind of go through the process beforehand.
Yeah, so
So it will be easier to not smoke.
exactly. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about that works the same exact way. A friend of mine and myself went bowling. Now, we went to the bowling alley and she was not able to hit pins. So when she was at the bowling alley, she was trying to throw the ball and the pins were not being hit because she was not visualizing the pins before she hit the pins. So I told her to close her eyes and imagine she was hitting the pins and she hit a strike.
Really?
So
With eyes closed?
no. Closed her eyes and then opened her eyes and she hit a strike. See, that's the same as preparing yourself before you even get in the situation. So the way the universe works is with positive and negative forces. It's not when other people tell you this thing is good or bad. It's when you decide that it's not a positive thing in your life that you have a chance to overcome it.
I get that.
So it's when you choose that it's not positive. So if you're still allowing yourself to be in the place where negativity is filling the space in where positivity could, then the ability for you to stop is not there. The minute that you allow the positivity to fill it in, like, no, I'm not going to be in this place because it's not positive for me. When you make that kind of identification inside of yourself, that instead of using addictions as a disadvantage, using them as the advantage for you to overcome them, right? So you know that what are the side effects of smoking? Hard to breathe. You have to pay a lot for it. You sit in a place where you're not comfortable inside. You're doing things that you just can't control, right? So what would be a positive way to reinforce the ability to take that and turn it into a positive? So we can take that and turn it into a positive. Okay, I want to breathe. Okay, I want to be in a place where I'm not around these kind of people. You getting what I'm saying?
Yep.
But that also takes self-study. And that's why when we sit down with ourselves, see, the reason why the smoking is so hard is because it has to deal with the hardest trait on the face of the planet, which is self-honesty. You getting what I'm saying? When you become honest with yourself, like, I can't help myself yet. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you start?
That's really difficult.
Sure. So what we had to do, because I have a friend who actually stopped smoking, is she was working at a place where it was in a bar, and she ended up, anytime that she took a break when she would go out, there would be other people who were smoking as well. So the first thing she had to do was start to write these things down, what she was feeling, like self-honesty, which is that self-trait. You getting what I'm saying? So
not completely.
When you write everything down, everything, and I mean the positive and the negatives, like, man, I couldn't help it today. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the ability to go back and revisit it and adjust it. That's why writing stuff down is so important. Because what you write down and when you revisit it, and you revisit it in a positive way, the ability for those things to start to turn towards positivity for you, give you the ability to start seeking out the positivity. So we know that you want to breathe better, right? We know that you want to put yourself in a better environment than the places that it's giving you the ability to enable you to smoke, yeah? So how do you start to do that? Well, by writing it down. The minute you wake up in the morning, speak your whole mind. Man, I do this, and this brings me in this direction. Well, you know the results from that direction is that you end up with a cigarette, right? So
exactly.
How do you create the new results is you've got to create the mindset to where the results is what you keep. I didn't have a cigarette today because it wasn't positive for me. The reason why it wasn't positive for me is because I can't breathe, because I can't I can't. So you see those limitations become a place where you have the ability to overcome your limitations. When your reason becomes greater than your challenge no longer is a challenge. Do you get what I'm saying now?
That makes sense. Yeah.
And that's what I did. I in fact, I was with somebody for 8 years, and they left me. I was put in one roommate situation to a next to ultimately be sleeping in my vehicle. I was sleeping in my vehicle after being married for 8 years. My wife went to Europe. I was sending almost all the money I had to keep her afloat there, to realize that she was never going to come back. Okay? In that time frame, I was inside the sauna doing meditation on a daily basis, and as I was doing meditation and delivering food, sleeping in my car with my 2 dogs, I realized that the heat that was going on inside the sauna was not as great as what was going on inside, and I started to press past the barriers. I passed a 1 hour, a 2 hour, a 3 hour, a 4 hour, and ultimately 5 hours of meditation without leaving a sauna. I was known in San Diego as probably the person that has. They always used to tell me, man, you could probably win the Olympics in being in a sauna, because my mentality was greater than the heat that I was going through. And we can use this same example to what you're looking at. You got to get your mentality to the place where it's greater than the cigarette.
So is it about replacing behavior from negative to positive behavior?
So it's about self-understanding. See, as long as the cigarette is a positive thing in your mentality, the place of allowing positivity to fill it in doesn't have its ability. The minute that you identified that the cigarette is negative for you, that's when you start having a chance. It's not replacing things, it's letting the things that are positive move into the direction of you. See, when you enable the ability for you to be yourself, which is the hardest trait to work on. So that's why I'm telling you, it's not about changing yourself. It's about identifying what's positive for you. Newton's third law, simple.
And about letting go to make place for better options.
That's it. Exactly. So when you start to see the negative things that are happening from it, and you start to decide for yourself that it isn't something positive in your life, the universe is going to test you to see if this is what you want. So if you keep seeking out the positive in it, then eventually, and it's not, it takes self-patience to get there.
And with every important object or blockage in life or goal, you can do the same thing?
Exactly. That's what Oprah Winfrey understood. I was sitting there listening to Oprah Winfrey's masterclass on podcast, and she was talking about this. See, I spent that time that I was sleeping in my car listening to motivational videos. I listened to all of the Eric Thomas. I listened to all of the Grant Cardone. I listened to all of the Les Brown. I listened to all these different motivational speakers. And the thing that they missed out on was that you got to dominate your being with positivity. And the minute you start to do that, the minute you start to put your mentality in place, then the ability to want it so bad that you're willing to die to achieve it becomes possible. And I was willing to die to achieve self-knowledge. That's why I passed 4 hours in a sauna. They said it was impossible to pass an hour, that you're going to die. What about when people were bringing me shakes inside the sauna, just water, because I was in there. And it wasn't just once. I had to have 3 bottles this big brought to me inside the sauna as I was inside there. And when I got out and I was going in and out for an additional 3, it wasn't the ability, it was what drove me inside. And one thing that I have found for myself helps is if you could find a set of words that bring you energy. Like Oprah Winfrey's
like
words.
A mantra?
Exactly. So like my mantra is the law of riches. What drives me is helping other people. I know that when I put out into the universe, I get back. Times 2, times 3. That's why mantras are important. Because what you focus into, you get to keep. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Very much so. Yes. Yeah. So I
It's
wrote it down like, you know, uh, like I lose time. I don't breathe so well. I smell bad. It costs a lot of money, and I kind of look at the positive sides of stopping. And I'm going to breathe better, have more attention for and time for things I'm doing around me. I can enjoy the smell of things more, and I can create abundance.
Yeah, and as you're going through it, as you're going through the day, and those negative things start coming, seek out the positive. It'll fill its space.
Thank you so much. This is really helpful.
Well, this is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life, and I have been. I've been putting videos out there. Another way to overcome those kind of challenges is what we listen to. So, the reason why you see so many wealthy motivational speakers in the world is because they're getting the yield from their level of focus. It's not that they're the only people in the universe that are getting their yield. Do you get what I'm saying? We see singers, we see writers, we see artists, we see speakers, we see these people. It's just the attention where they put their focus into is positivity. And that's what you're seeing is a reflection. And that's the type of question that gets us to the place, and I'll go ahead and take it to a place where mentality actually lays. In the U.S., are you in the U.S. by chance?
In Amsterdam, Holland.
Okay. So, in the U.S., a lot of us, the culture itself comes from a Christian background, okay? A lot of the words that are used come from this Christian background, and it comes from a place where people think about good and bad, okay? And a lot of the structure itself come from this place where good and bad become the only existence. So they forget about the biblical that goes back to the point that there was light and dark and that it was divided. If we can see simply that negative and positive forces in the universe are there for our favor, then we can see where Einstein was coming from. And that ability to see that the universe is our friend and that we can use the universe is what I'm talking about. It's that knowledge to know before you make the choice. See, a lot of people eliminate themselves before they have the ability to use that part of themselves. And so how can we start to open up that part of ourselves where we have the ability to overcome those kind of challenges like smoking? By not listening to the people who say good and bad, okay? Listening to yourself, using your self-honesty, using your self-ability, using your self-mentality inside of who you are to focus into positivity, to see the light in your life, to see the ability to divide the dark from the light in your life, like the ability to see that smoking shortens your breath, shortens your ability to use your positive being, shortens the ability to use your challenges to your advantage. See, that's the key there. When we become a gift that we already are, when we don't have to change who we are, when we can be who we are on the inside and make the decisions that are positive in our lives, then the ability to overcome our challenges become available to us. A lot of people stop themselves from that page, and that page is called discipline. Self-mastery, the self-knowledge inside of ourselves to see that ability inside of we are. When we're in our positions, when we're in our homes, when we're in our relationships, are they all a part of a positive part of our being? You hearing what I'm saying? And I was working with a girl with stage 4 metastasized cancer who taught me the good and bad didn't exist. She was dying because the doctors had taught her that this was good for her. And though she passed on her part of the journey, She had taught me that we accept everything in our lives. Every challenge that we face off against is a part of your greater journey. You know, I have a friend who, I have a tattoo on my shoulder from a Cambo and Buffo that I did with a friend that's actually online, that you can actually watch on YouTube. And and you can watch my meditation on YouTube. You can actually watch these types of things that I've taught, that I've learned, that other people have seeked me out to actually show them how to use. And it's with that kind of mentality that freedom starts to open up. See, a lot of things are attached to emotions, fear, and pain. And the reason why they're attached to emotion, fear, and pain is because people don't want to go to that level inside where they go beyond the fear, beyond the emotion, and learn from the pains in their lives. And that is where the shortness of breath comes from. It comes from that place where inside of you is greater than it. See, I've been through car accidents before. Both of my hips were displaced. My vertebrae in the center where your belly button was out of place. My neck was elongated. I walk into a chiropractor's office and the chiropractor tells me, well, I've never seen somebody with as much strain as you've had in your entire body. But you see, the thing wasn't that. It was getting down to the meditation that I could find that breath, that I could find that chapter in this story where I caused that damage on myself. I was taking the ownership in it, being honest with yourself, working with self-honesty that found that breath. That's the reason why I walk today. Okay? I had to stop exercising for almost years because I was afraid that the back was going to fall apart. But that's not a fear. It's knowledge inside that I know that I can heal within. That the challenges from within can become overcome. And I wouldn't have learned that unless I believed that I was possible, that I could decide to not end up in a wheelchair.
And how do you kind of stop that drive from taking over?
See, the thing is, I had no choice. All I had was myself. I was sleeping in a van. I had nothing more and nothing less than oneself. But what has been taught is really horrible. What has been taught is that self-love or self-knowledge, see, love is just an emotion which comes from the knowledge that you learned it. So you focus to the point where you learn it, and then as soon as you learn it, it becomes knowledge. And then when it reflects outwards, other people see your care as self-love. So when you're looking for self-care, when you're looking for what's going on inside of you, you're really seeking out self-honesty. And so how do you search for just being yourself? And that's why it's not on just one level. See, when we allow the people to move into our life that are meant for us, the people that are not meant to be in our lives move out of our lives. So it's using that simple equation. For each action, there's an equal and opposite. And the hardest trait to work with is self-honesty. It's not towards somebody else. It's about these people are positive in my life. These people are not positive in my life. And it's not that we won't have handicaps. Do you get what I'm saying?
I have two friends. They're really old, like late in the 70s, late in the 80s. And I often visit them to go for a walk or go for a drive. But the one smokes marijuana and the other one smokes cigarettes a lot.
See,
and I noticed that I feel good that I kind of see my old friends, but I noticed that it does influence me.
That's it right there. See, that's the mentality. See, what I'm saying is, this is why it's not, see, on a certain level, it's okay to say, hey, this is good, this is bad. Once you go beyond that and you go inside of yourself and you start seeking out your own journey, your own path, the people that are not positive, that are not bringing you towards your positivity, towards yourself, towards your own self-honesty, they take you to a place where that type of person being around you is a negative thing. That's why the actual biblical is God divided the light from the dark. And then God chose that light was good.
But is that all on moral values, like smoking is bad or something.
See, that's what it's not.
Right.
The greatest part is it's not what's your battles are not mine. Do you understand what I'm saying? My battles are not yours. So this isn't about you or versus me. This is about you versus you. This is about you being honest to yourself inside. It's about working with the traits inside of oneself to decide what's positive in their life. If they're going to let these things that are positive fill in its space. Possibly not spending time with people that are bringing you closer to that is a positive thing in your life. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
definitely. It doesn't mean you never want to see them again, but it means that they're not helping in the things that I want and I believe that I need.
see, the thing is that when you work with the hardest trait on the face of the planet, you actually don't allow those types of things to be around you. Those types of people to be around you. See,
Or
that's
they change around you.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that that's where I started to help a friend of mine heal inside. She passed away. She had stage 4 cancer. She was dying because the doctors were teaching her that good was what existed and bad. And what do you do when your children are taken away by your parents because your companion that left you was into drugs and stuff like that, and you were put in a position where your kids were taken by your family and they're sheltered, so you're dying from stage 4 cancer from within you. See, you got to free yourself from your emotions. You got to free yourself from your fears, and your pains have got to become a teacher, and they can't unless you face off against them, unless the universe starts to become one's friend. And the way to get there is to know that the knowledge lays behind the pains, the fears, and the emotions. That what you have inside is waiting for you to gain the stories from. And the possibility there is that those people might not be a positive force in your life. So are you seeking out positivity by spending time around people who are smoking when you're working on a page of not wanting to smoke?
Nope.
So you got to let that move out of your life so that the things that are positive have the ability to fill that space. Because as Newton stated, for each action there's an equal and opposite. That's how you move those things out of your life. That's how you get to the page where you're seeing that yourself stop smoking, is by identifying this isn't positive.
Yeah, it's the same thing at work. Like I have a colleague, and I don't want to talk bad about her, but she kind of doesn't come up with ways to work very efficiently, and she finds that her own time is most sacred and important thing in life. On one hand, it's an example because she takes good care of herself, but when I look at the work that needs to be done, it just doesn't get finished. And
see, that's not how the universe works. Look at how the universe puts that into play. Those people will be moved out of those positions if they're not meant to be there. When you're positive in your own being, when you're seeing those types of things, even when they handicap. That's why I talk about handicaps. When we use our handicaps to our advantage. You hearing what I'm saying?
I'm hearing what you're saying, yeah.
When you use the handicap to your advantage, the universe has the ability to use you. So, if a person is not meant for a position, will they hold the position eventually? No, right?
No, that's true.
So if you already know that and you're focused into your place, then the lesson, like I had, because I worked for Chrysler for 2.5 years. I did 3.5 years of telesales, 2.5 years of car sales, 5 years of driving people, over 100,000 people last 7 years. Psychologist spends about 100,000 people in their whole entire lifetime career, and I've already spent way more than that, and I'm working on building my own. So what I'm getting at is where your vibration is becomes a reflection outwards. So if you're allowing the way that they're putting themselves into their position to affect you, then is it bringing positivity towards you?
I don't get it.
Okay, so when you're there and you're doing your position, right?
Hmm.
This is why it applies to all aspects, because we're talking about a professional aspect. Though somebody may have self-care, in this profession, they're not putting their skills to use truly. They're not
Yes.
they're not letting the negativity leave their life to bring positivity towards their life. So in a profession where you see somebody who's not doing that, if you continue to focus on your own portion of your profession to becoming the best at what you're doing, then the ability for those people to move out of your way become more likely. And that's
Thank you so
patience.
much. Yes, I kind of figured this out for myself, and I already see that it's working. Yeah.
I can give you an example of this too. I worked for Chrysler for 2.5 years. When I first started working for Chrysler, I had agreed, and the company that I had worked with agreed that we were the right fit for each other. Because I had already been doing sales, and I was an agreement that I would never get a job unless both I and the company were in agreement. Well, that also made me work in a place where focus became a foundation, where I was first and second place every month. And so the reason why I was up there was because the job that I was performing was filling positivity in my life. Not is positivity. It was filling the positive part of me, was fueling to help other people. Which is why I understood my mantra was the law of riches. So when I was there, in the beginning, there was a manager who decided that his whole entire job, who had a master's degree in psychology and was making $320,000 a year, was his whole entire job was, let me go ahead and see how hard I can ride every single employee. Now this guy right here doesn't work that way. I don't compare myself to other people. When I work for from within me. I'm focusing what I'm going to focus into, and it doesn't matter how many people fall around me. I'm going to put myself straight to do the best job that I can do.
And
Now,
riding you was the difference, right?
and he was trying to ride me. Now, here I am, first and second place, and I was asking for a manager's raise, and they were like, "We can't give it to you yet. We can't give it to you yet." I start driving on the side. I was working 50, 60 hours a week, and I was driving 35 to 40 hours a week on top of selling cars. I'm sitting there going in there, I'm exhausted, and I'm kicking everybody's butt. Every other month, first, second, I was barely just holding it, just swimming at the top, always. Always, because I did not compare myself to somebody else. And so because of that, after I left there, because they weren't willing to budge on the percentage that they had to equate the difference between me driving and selling cars, because they weren't willing to do that, I went into driving full time. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because I did that, I started doing that, and it opened up the other parts of my life. I had more time for my wife and stuff like that because I was putting more focus into driving. Now, when I did that, I went back one day and I worked a job for them. The general manager of that Chrysler looked at me like, man, I wish I hadn't done what I did. Do you get what I'm saying? To me, that was enough inside to know that I was that valuable. I already knew it, but to see it in front of my face did a lot more for me. When I was working for Chrysler, that same guy that rode me ended up getting the reflection back that nobody wanted to sell cars for him, because the day that I decided that I was going to sell cars for the other manager, I sold more cars on the day the other manager was there than the day the manager who was riding everybody was. At a certain point, nobody in the entire dealership wanted to sell a single car for that guy. He literally begged me to start selling cars for him. But at that point, it was too late, yeah? See, what had happened was the general manager had taken note of all the stuff that this guy had done. He had taken note of all the things that had happened. And in fact, the guy no longer has the position. Because the mentality is an enabling thing. If you put yourself in a place where your mentality has the ability for you to be yourself, but it only starts as soon as you're not comparing yourself to others.
Got it. Yeah, so the focus is on yourself and bringing in what works for you.
Exactly. And that comes from self-honesty, it comes from focus, it comes from understanding yourself, becoming who you are on the inside, and allowing that person. See, it's easy for other people to know somebody for who they're not. What about the people who know you for who you are?
So can I ask you, when you would think of this manager in a negative way, maybe that's not the right expression, when you would see his shortcomings, would you use that to fuel focus more on what is working for you?
See, that's a very good question. Let me go ahead and break this down. When you are focused into the things that you're trying to do to become the best you. See, let's go ahead and break down a trait that a lot of people are starting to misinterpret in the world. Self-understanding is not selfishness. Selflessness is not selfishness. So, when you're being all that you are is you, when people start to know you for you, when they start to see you for who you are inside, and they start to see you for the person that you are, you don't have to be selfish to be that person. It already exists inside of you.
You already explained it to yourself.
Yeah, so therefore, you don't have to be selfish. So you can help other people out by being who you are.
Because selfishness is often not understood motives. Like
it's taking things from other people.
They need something and they just really they can't explain why, and other people don't understand why. But if they really need it, then people will give it to them.
Each action, if you allow positivity to fill the space, the negativity has the ability to move out of the way. Okay, see what I'm saying? So yep. When one starts to work on their own self-honesty, when one starts to work on their own self, the ability for that part of themselves to open up to where all they are is nothing more and nothing less than themselves, that's not change. That's you being honest to yourself. And see, selfishness requires change. That's why the question about how do I stop smoking is more so about, can you identify what's positive for yourself and move the things that are not positive out of your way? Like the people, like those friends that are smoking, like those people that are not bringing you towards it. Can you be honest with yourself to the point where those people move out of the way and the people that are positively bringing you in your direction are? And that's discipline. That discipline has a place of inspiration. The thing that kept me alive while I was sleeping in my car was that this right here. Motivation, meditation, and inspiration. I was asking myself this question every day. I was getting to the point where that was what if it didn't have to do with motivation, if it didn't have to do with meditation, if it didn't have to do with inspiration, then I didn't want to even be a part of it.
And yet you're full of compassion and benevolence too, I see.
Yeah, because we have to care about those people inside of themselves. See, discipline, that knowledge and that focus becoming applied to the point where you inspire other people. That is what it's about. It's about uplifting other people. It's about, hey, look, I am who I am. I have my challenges. I have the things I'm working through. I'm focusing to become a more positive person inside of who I am. I'm using this ability. I'm not allowing the people that are not positive in my life. That is how positivity has the ability to start flowing into your life. And that's the question that I ask every single day. I ask myself that question every day. Is what I'm about to do today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? Is it focus to the point where other people see it as a reflection of motivation? Am I using self-study to the point where what's going on inside is reflecting out as a form of meditation, which is self-knowledge being utilized? And is the level of discipline that I have to use my knowledge and my focus centering me to the point where what I'm using inside of myself is reflecting a state of inspiration where other people are becoming uplifted because I'm being disciplined to be myself? Is that selfish?
It's a good example.
So that's what I talk about on a daily basis. Focused knowledge and discipline, motivation, meditation, and inspiration. And so to overcome it is to go within. It's to gain an understanding of oneself to where you decide that it's positive to do that. And then chase after that.
Knowledge and...
Huh?
You said focus, knowledge, and...
Discipline.
Yeah, thank you.
That's when knowledge and focus are put in center. It's when you are that. Every single day, everything that you do in your day, that's your discipline. When I was inside the sauna doing meditation, people were asking me, how did you create this kind of a practice? Well, I sat there day after day after day for almost a decade. Literally started at 27, at 34, I was still continuing to do meditation inside the sauna. And so, is when that heat is greater, you're greater than the heat that you're going on against. And see, that's where the universe is going to test you too. You know that when you're working on something inside of yourself, it might take writing it down, it might take speaking it out, it might take, but you also got to become your own best friend. You know, like a lot of people that go for runs, they talk to themselves, right? So, and I don't mean talking to yourself in a crazy way. I mean talking to yourself like, come on, I got one more mile to go. Come on, I can do this next mile. I can make it through this next mile. Come on. Self become your own best friend.
Thank you. It's been a good help.
You're a blessing. And I hope that I was able to inspire you to work on your journey, as we all do. We all have challenges. There's not a single person. It's when we start to embrace our challenges that we have a chance. So.
Yeah, challenges are our friends. True. It doesn't always seem that way, but it is. Yeah.
Well, see, like, for instance, when I came out here and it was Arizona, and I started working with this girl with stage 4 metastasized cancer, I was going through my own things and I was there helping other people. And so when we see each other's challenges, we have the ability to use our own levels of discipline to increase our knowledge inside, which ends up freeing us from the emotion. That's called liberation. When you liberate yourself, with the day that you know that your ability to smoke stops because your mentality is stronger than the ability. When that able mentality says, hey, I'm stronger than this thing, then you'll have the ability to inspire other people too, yeah?
Yeah, time to move forward.
All right, well, I do hope that you have a blessed day there, and I know that a lot of the reason why this energy comes up inside and the biggest challenge is because the type of energy that you have, you probably see a lot of green around you when you go places, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because you like to use your heart, though it's not necessarily the voicing of the heart that's the issue, it's the understanding of the heart. And I don't know all the challenges that you've been through, but I can definitely read the energy inside. I can read that you're trying to head towards your ability for depth perception to grow, and it can, but you got to allow it to through the understanding of all the challenges that you've faced off against.
Yeah, I'm going for quite a lot. Last year I got divorced. went into transition from man to woman.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's a lot of changes, a lot of challenge, and I kind of, thought I'd cut myself some slack to start smoking again, but it wasn't a smart thing to do, I guess. But well, it was there, yeah. But I had enough. Yeah.
Well, your growth inside is your own. Your battle isn't versus somebody else. And I just want you to know that we're all blessings on the face of the planet, and I hope you have blessings in your life, okay?
Okay, I want to let you go. Thank you so much. I'm following you, and I'll see you around.
All right, blessings to you, and
Okay.
hopefully you can
Oh,
use
what-
that kind of thing in yourself to believe in you.
I wrote everything down, and tomorrow morning when I wake up, I got my pen and paper next to my bed. You can bet.
Yep, that's where you can actually listen to videos like this on my motivation, meditation, inspiration. It's in the link there. So if you're searching for a place to start seeking a way to be able to listen to it, when it hits the subconscious, then it starts to manifest from within out. So,
I guess it already started, otherwise I would not be here. Last thing I wanted to ask, what is your name?
Marcel,
Marcel, pleased to meet you. I'm Rose.
blessing to meet you, Rose.
Blessing to meet you. Okay,
Have a
Bye.
blessed day.
thank you.
Yeah. What a wonderful conversation. What a wonderful way to use the mentality, to use the challenges, to use the ability inside of ourselves to uplift. Like I ask every single day, the question is this what I'm about to do? Is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. Let's get into that ability to focus to that level where discipline becomes a reflection of inspiration, where you inspire other people to overcome their own challenges for themselves and see the beauty that they have inside. Blessings all, and namaste.